What's going on out there, Culture Junkies? We're back with another episode of Culture Junkies Live. The second one back on our brand new, well, it's not really brand new, but our return in the year 2024. But today we're going to be talking about, well, we lost a really great one on Friday. The legendary Carl Weathers passed away late Friday, and I mean, not Friday, it was Saturday, but it was weird to lose him all of a sudden. So we'll talk about that a little bit, but we're also going to go over some of the news that's happening with Microsoft. Monday is supposed to be this huge announcement, but the rumors are swirling out there that a lot of Xbox games are going to be coming to the PlayStation platform. So what could that mean? But we're also going to talk also about the shows we're looking forward to the most in 2024. Joining me as always, sitting on the right of on my stage left is the great Dr. Kuji, and right below me is GQ. What's up, fellas?
Not too
Yeah.
much. Doing well.
I hope everything. Oh wow, not the hiccups. Let's not do the hiccups today.
Hiccups never go away. I keep telling people they don't go nowhere.
Mm. All right,
Get the
so
hiccup all the
um,
time.
what's up to Wolverine Solid X over on Twitch? Hello to you, sir.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Um, Marcus A64 has just renewed his sub. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Says feels good to be back. We know the feeling. We know the feeling. Feels good to be back. Appreciate you. Glad you're here. So first and foremost, let's get this out of the way. Like I alluded to in the show open, we lost Carl Weathers on Friday, or excuse me, not on Friday, on Saturday, and it was quite a surprise to everybody out there, seeing as how I literally was on his Twitter feed on Friday. He just posted something, and to see him just suddenly just leave, it was kind of sad. I was hoping to see him in that upcoming Mandalorian movie that they're getting ready to do, but no more Grief Karga, I guess. Shame. What's
They're
you
gonna
guys'
bring back
thoughts when
Gina
you heard?
Carano.
Uh, let's not talk about that. GQ, what's your thoughts on losing Carl Weathers as suddenly as we did?
I mean, it's one of those things. Everybody, unfortunately, at some point is going to pass. Obviously, he's done a lot in film and TV, and even before that was in the NFL, I believe. So I
Hmm.
mean, the
Oakland
guy had
Raiders.
a full, yeah, he had a full life without a doubt. Obviously, iconic for Apollo Creed. Um,
Hmm.
Became known even for another character in Happy Gilmore, and then
Oh
also, of
yes.
course, Predator, and
Hmm.
lately the Mandalorian, and even more recently than that, the commercials for the some type of thing for the Super Bowl. So
Hmm.
he's worked right up until the end, basically. So
Pretty much.
great
Pretty
actor.
much. Yeah. Dido, your thoughts on the passing of Carl Weathers, and what'd you make of it when you heard the news that he was no
It
longer with
was
us?
it was very surprising, like everybody else was saying. It's just because you didn't see it coming. I know he was in his 70s, and I hate hearing about that because they say like the average person, I think in America, lives to like they're in their 70s or some shit like that. And
Hmm.
he had a lot more. I think he had a lot more to give, but your time is your time. Can't do much about it, but we can always most definitely go back and watch the stuff that we loved him in because that ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so if you guys had to pick, I mean, obviously everybody loves Apollo Creed, and maybe not evenly, but if you had to pick your favorite Carl Weathers either role or maybe moment or scene or movie, what would you say is yours?
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, the iconic handshake.
Yeah, that I
Um,
think that was one of the cool ones.
I mean, obviously, I grew up with watching stuff like Action Jackson, which was
Hmm.
it was a lot of people were like, "Oh, the movie wasn't good." It's like, no, it was a product of its time. The movie
Yeah, yeah.
itself was fine. I mean, it's like
Hmm.
it's just it's Apollo Creed as an action hero, so it actually worked out pretty well. I think honestly, Apollo Creed was probably my favorite, just in the
Mm.
sense of he wasn't a villain in the first movie. He was just a businessman and a
Yeah.
boxing guy trying to promote a match.
Hmm.
So it was like, okay, he was clearly the better boxer of the two. It's just Rocky had that heart. And then you go into Rocky 2, they kind of develop a little bit of friendship and respect for each other. Moving to Rocky 3, and then he actually is training Rocky how to be an actual boxer. And I thought that was, a cool just progression of the character. So they did a good job with it overall. I mean, for me, it's Apollo Creed, even though he went out kind of messed up in Rocky 4.
Bro,
But
I
I mean,
hated that.
that's what they did.
I
So,
hated that. I
Yeah.
really did. I hated that. Hate everything about that. That was I
yeah.
thought that was that I hated that. But no, for me, besides the ridiculousness of Action Jackson,
Hmm.
uh, uh
He said, "What is that? Is it
that movie
balls?"
was ridiculous, bro. That movie was ridiculous.
He
No
had the
matter which
balls
way
in a
you
jar.
want to swing it, that movie was ridiculous, man. But it
Hmm.
was so much
Yeah.
fun. In fact, like Megatron had made me had told me to go ahead and like put that on the media server, because he was like, I ain't seen that in forever, and you got to do it for the culture. Um, but man, it's just for me, I think my favorite role from Carl Weathers. I loved him in Rocky 3, Apollo
Hmm.
Creed. I loved his Apollo Creed in Rocky 3. Um, I might have to give it to Happy Gilmore
I love
though,
the Happy Gilmore too.
because it was, for me, I had never seen him like that. He was always that straight laced, kind of no nonsense. He wasn't really overly funny or goofy or anything like that. It was just it was surprising to me. Preem says, his was Dylan, you some of a bitch, that from Predator, obviously. Wolverine Solid X says, Rocky, and for obviously Apollo Creed was his favorite. Um, the Marcus A says for that Apollo Creed death scene gonna hit even more because it's sad. Yeah, no, it is sad. He's right about that. It is sad. He's right. But yeah, no, that was kind of a big loss for the culture, and Wolverine did acknowledge that. Yeah, he did a really good job in Mando too, and I don't think anybody really expected what happened, him showing up in Mando and him being, as good as he was. I thought it was also, obviously, he's a character actor first and foremost, started on TV. Now that I work from home, I've had more time to watch stuff while I'm working. And one of the things that I started watching again, I started watching $6 Million Man. And that was literally like his first role after football. And I think that he was that first or second season of $6 Million Man. There was a bunch of ex-football players, because like Dick Butkus was in there.
Hmm.
I think trying to see who else was in there, but there was more than a few football players that were in the $6 Million Man, and he was one of them in there along with Dick Butkus, acting in the same episode. So yeah, seeing him in there. He was also on a couple of other TV shows before before he got his big break being in Rocky as Apollo Creed. He went back to TV. He's been on like Law and Order, SVU, and the Chicago shows that Dick Wolf has. So yeah, shout out to Carl Weathers. Like I said, lost a great one. Kid, can't believe that he's gone. Um, and we just honor his memory, then thank him for everything. Um, so there's that. All right, guys, let's pivot to kind of some news of the week. And the biggest news of the week that I've been following on social media and is like kind of blew up everywhere. It's been like a couple of days since it came out. I guess the rumors are is that Microsoft has this huge announcement that's coming out next week, and I guess it leaked early that the announcement is going to say that Microsoft is going to allow some of their games, some of their most notable IPs to be over on the PlayStation platform, including Starfield, which was a big Bethesda thing, a big game that everybody was talking about late last year. But also, I heard rumors that they might get Halo over there on PlayStation. Imagine that. You know, what do you think this says not only about what Microsoft's announcement is, but the future of maybe Xbox as a as a platform. And is this good or bad news for Microsoft? Thoughts?
I don't think anything is bad when it comes to games. What you call it? Again, we don't know exactly the details, and we've always heard that they're trying to do Game Pass on everything. Because if you think about it, a lot of people out here nowadays they ain't got to buy games. A lot of people who like Xbox is not because you have to buy games, is because you pay $16 a month and you can play whatever the hell you want. And that's like, I think Netflix is going for that same thing right now. It's not for
Mm-hmm.
collectors. It's not for like people like us, but it is a definite viable way of playing games. It's not streaming. You download them right to your system and you go. And I like the concept of it. I like the idea. If I didn't care about having a collection like I do, then maybe I would do those things. But unfortunately, it doesn't appeal to me. But I mean, games are games. I wish personally, I hate the idea that you have a Xbox version of something for a third party game and a PlayStation version. It's on a disc. Why can't it just be one disc? You just pop it in whatever system and it plays like that. I'm on in the thing like I guess I'm console agnostic as it is now or whatever, because I don't
Mm-hmm.
really give a shit what console it's on. All I care is that the game is fun.
And I get that. I understand that, but there's always the business aspect of it. From a consumer, you look at things from a purely consumer standpoint, whereas like all I care about is the games I get to play. For other people,
Yeah.
and for businesses altogether, it depends on what your business model is. If you're peddling software, the software is nothing without the hardware you play it on, right? So if you have a hardware platform like Xbox does and has had for at least what is this, their third generation? No, fourth generation uh, of
Yeah.
of a system,
Since the
right?
year 2000.
Since the
I
year
believe
2000.
2001, I think, is when it came.
It's
Or
a
is it
Mhm.
yeah,
2001? Either
2001,
two, no,
2001. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, 2001.
yeah,
And your business model is, I'm going to have this hardware platform, but I'm also going to not really, you know, uh, push any exclusives, but I'm going to let my competitors have my exclusives. Then what's the point of you having the hardware? GQ, before I get to my point, what is your thoughts on what Microsoft is doing and what it could mean for their platform?
I mean, one of the announced games is that Indiana Jones games that I mentioned last week. That would be
Yeah,
my only reason for buying an Xbox. If they do this, I'm not going to buy an Xbox. I have no point
exactly.
or purpose for it because it's like I don't play most of the games that are quote unquote exclusive to Microsoft.
Hmm.
And if they do this and make those games non-exclusive anyway, it's like, okay, I
Hmm.
got a PS5 and it plays that stuff fine. So I mean, I don't know. It's very odd to me, considering they like to shoot themselves in the foot. They've done it 2 systems in a row now, where it's just
Hmm.
like they've given people reasons to not buy their system. It sounds like they're trying to pull a Sega and they're trying to get out of the hardware business, which if they want to do it, that's fine. The problem I have with Game Pass is it's great for small indie titles that like you can download, a couple hundred meg, maybe a gig. We
Hmm.
just talked about it before the show. The demo for Final Fantasy Rebirth is 47 gigs. Now you're talking about
Hmm.
a easily over 100 gigabyte download that's not going to stream for crap. We already know that. And then, if you're trying to download 100 gigs or so every single time you want to do something or play something, now granted, it's a one-time download if you keep it on the system. But if that's constantly what you're doing, you're going to get throttled. Every
Yeah.
internet service provider is going to throttle you. And so until
Hmm.
our internet infrastructure lines up, I don't like the idea of a Game Pass. I like buying my games and getting my actual physical game. That's
Right.
just that's always gonna be my stance on that until the
Hmm.
internet catches up to their concept and their idea of what they want to
Right.
have happen.
And I know cloud gaming is a big thing, and I think it's we're not going to be able to put that genie back in the bottle or put the toothpaste back in the tube of saying that everything is just going to be physical only, physical primarily, right? Cloud gaming is coming on, and I get it. It's not for me personally. I still would rather download my game and have not have to worry about a server being busy. Like that's why I've avoided I avoided that Google Stadia. I've avoided GeForce Now gaming. I'm not dealing with any queues or anything like that. I want to play what I want to play right when I want to play it. I don't
Well,
want to have to
everyone
wait
that's
for
come
another.
out has failed.
Yeah,
Stadia failed hard. It
yeah.
failed within what, 8 months? It's like
Something like that.
the concept is fine. The infrastructure in this country ain't there.
Ain't there. Right,
I
exactly.
really wish I got that controller because they opened it up to just turn it into a Bluetooth controller that you can use for anything.
You could probably find it somewhere.
You just collect
Maybe.
everything, don't you? Game
Well,
related, you
kind
just
of.
collect it all.
Not everything. I'm not as bad as some of these people. I just saw a dude on TikTok not too long ago. This guy said, "Look at my no, it was Reddit, 11,500," and I'm like, no. As much as I like video games, 11,500
11,500 for what?
500
Exactly.
games.
Oh,
Oh,
number of
Games.
games.
oh, that was
Number
his
of
game.
games he
Okay,
got.
the number of games.
And
Wow,
I'm
that's
like,
crazy.
I literally want to play my games. I have
Mm-hmm.
having a hard time because I keep end up going back to like the Binding of Isaac. I want to finish that game.
Well, there's always the argument. There's always the argument. It's like, okay, for example, you and I buy the stuff we actually want, will play, watch, whatever it may be. So, yeah, I could be a movie collector that just literally just goes to the store and buys everything on the shelf. That don't mean nothing to me. It's just like, okay, I got a whole bunch of movies. Most of these I don't even like. So what's the point of buying them? So same thing with you in games. You buy the games that you actually want to play. I've seen you buy lots of games, in the sense of just, buying a bulk of maybe Game Boy games or whatever it may be. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at least out of that lot, most of that stuff you'll actually play. And then sometimes, you might flip some stuff or whatever. But it's like, I've never been one that's like, oh yeah, I have to buy every single Super Nintendo game out there. No, because I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of them I didn't even want to play.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't
tons I don't even care about, and I don't need to have them. I'm not that type of collector. I collect the stuff that I want to play, and like this year, I don't. It's just stuff is getting difficult. Like we talked about Final Fantasy VII, and like I told you, I was holding out until they come out with a way that
PS6
can get
on the
both of them.
PS6. On the PS6.
That's probably
That's when you'll
what
get
they're
it.
gonna
The
end up
PS6
doing,
when it
maybe.
because
But that's if I
be
get
done.
a PlayStation 6 or something. Like I don't even know, man.
By then it really might be fully cloud by then. Because
Yeah,
I guarantee you they're gonna stop doing discs. They're gonna stop doing discs as like the built-in option. They're gonna do like the PS Slim where you gotta pay to get the disc drive to put on it.
To add to it, yeah.
Yeah, to add to it,
they're
just like they're
figuring
doing with
that
the Slim.
shit out. They're figuring that shit out
Yeah.
because you know it's gonna happen.
But what do we really think, though, guys? Like, do we honestly think that if this is true, and this is still rumor, if we think this is true, do you see a world where Microsoft goes like Sega? Because as Preem brought up, they make more money on their software than they do on their hardware. I looked at the numbers as I was doing my my arguing on social media, as I love to do. You always want to back up what you're going to say with numbers, and I've been saying that they're going to exit because they're a distant third in the console sales race, like a distant third.
Yeah.
Last year alone, PS5 or Sony, basically PS5, sold 21 units. Nintendo Switch sold like 16 million, and this is in millions. 16 million units. Xbox sold 7. A third of what PlayStation
it goes
did.
back to, like I said, they shoot themselves in the foot. It's one thing if you're gonna like, okay, you come out with a system, then you come out with the quote unquote pro version that improves on it as faster processor, blah blah blah. Do not come out with a weaker version and then the Cadillac version, and then it's just like, okay, well, the weaker version can only do this, and it's gonna be limited by this, and it's just like, okay, so you got the Cadillac version, and that's kind of what I should buy because I want to be able to play whatever you're gonna put out. Then you have this weaker version that's sitting there pulling back on sales because it's like you're always going to have those people that, oh, I just want to play a little bit of this and that, and I don't really care. And that's fine. Those are, it's great to reach those people, but it splits your audience. And now you're dealing with, it's like, okay, well, yeah, this game kind of works on this one, but it works way better on this. Or, splitting generations where they had stuff that worked from the original Xbox One. I'm like, can y'all just put out a system and that be that? then they had the stupid naming convention. So
Yeah.
I think the name.
Yeah.
Look, I was talking to I forget who it was, but back in the 80s in Japan, there was a system called the MSX, and if I remember correctly,
remember
the
that.
MS did stand for Microsoft. It was like Microsoft X or something like that.
Really?
Mhm.
And it was like a mini computer. If I remember correctly, I could look that up. And I'm thinking to myself, and I don't think it was Microsoft's system as like the Xbox. It was like a computer. It was a mini computer
Yeah.
that you could play games on. It was a computer first. So I believe that it was called the Microsoft something. And I'm like, they came up with the Xbox. They didn't have to call it the Xbox in Japan because from what I hear, the MSX did well over there. They could have called it the MSX over there, and it would have had the X in the name, would have had MS in there, and it would have brought nostalgia for the Japanese players, maybe. Just speculation. And maybe it would have done better over there. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't make it. ASCII made it, but it did definitely say, like, when I look at the Wikipedia for this thing right here, it says ASCII Corporation home computer that announced by ASCII Corporation, but and there's a million manufacturers. So it wasn't manufactured by one person, but it had DOS on it. Microsoft Extended. That's what it says. It says the meaning of acronym MSX remains a matter of debate, but in 2001, Kazuhiko Nishi recalled that many assumed that it was derived from Microsoft Extended. So, like, they could have played off of that. They could have just, Microsoft
it's
Xbox.
Possible. It's
MSX.
very possible.
They could. I mean, but they didn't. So we're here.
Oh yeah.
So okay, so to further with the rumor and not to beat a dead horse, but there's been the counter argument that Microsoft has been, basically shopping around, trying to get a new chip, and they're saying that maybe it's for their next console. An interesting thing, and I got into it with somebody on Twitter. I think it was yesterday or today, was saying that they are going to develop a handheld similar to, I guess, the Steam Deck. But for me, that would just be another loss value for them because they're entering a market that is already dominated by the Switch. They've already farmed out their Game Pass on multiple platforms, and the Steam Deck, and I think there's another competitor to the Steam Deck made by Asus.
No, there's many. There's not just Asus.
There's
You got
what is
Neo.
the ROG? I think it's the ROGs. There's a bunch of PC
many.
handhelds, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So Microsoft is late to the market, and if they bring out another thing that it's supposed to be a handheld and it's supposed to enter in the same market as the Steam Deck, which already has a lion's share of the market value, like for me, why would you even bother doing this? You know you're going to lose. Because you don't have any exclusive to make people want to buy your system. That's their whole problem. Like Chris just said, like GQ just said, he was going to buy an Xbox for the Indiana Jones game. Now that they're going to put it out on other systems, he ain't got to bother. So what do you have that's going to sell your system? And if you're not going to put it on Game Pass, which if you don't put it on Game Pass, you're going to alienate all those subs that you've been gathering for forever. They painted themselves into a corner that they can't get out of. That's my opinion. That's all.
I think it's just so weird that people look at stuff like that. For back in the 16-bit era, I definitely looked at who I want to buy because the exclusives were abundant. You did have games that jumped from both systems to both systems, Super Nintendo and Genesis, and you could debate left and right which one was better because there are some that was better on Genesis, some that were better on Super Nintendo. And Super Nintendo had some glorious exclusives, and Genesis had some really great exclusives as well. But today's age, just me, I don't give a shit about exclusives. Yeah, like God of War, Spider-Man is great. Name me another one that's like a system seller for me for PlayStation. I can't personally think of my whole thing for me personally, and I just wish that I could get it. And the reason why I a little bit like the Xbox a little bit more than the PlayStation this generation is literally just the backwards compatibility. I can pop in certain games and play them. Everything that was digital that I had on my 360, well, I don't say everything. There are some stuff that I can't re-download. I like the whole concept of that. and the
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 is just PlayStation 4. I mean, you can get other stuff on there, but you got to jump through hoops. I don't want to jump through hoops. I want to play my games on there.
And that's a very valid point, right? That could be
hate Sony that they didn't do that shit, man.
But there was a method to the madness. They wanted you to buy their systems again. Exactly.
Yeah.
Again. That's how you win. It's a capitalistic move. You may hate it, but what you gonna do about it? Nothing. You're gonna have to get in line.
But that's why I kind of like the Polymega, even though it took them forever. I finally got my second module.
Did you? Does it work?
I finally got the Genesis module. And I got the 64 module. They both work. I can play 32X games. I don't have to hook up my 32X. I ain't got to jump through all those fucking towers.
How long was that process? Because I remember you jumped on it as soon as they announced it.
Bro, the second
5 years ago?
I don't know if it could have been. I think it was before it was definitely before the pandemic. And I don't remember exactly when I ordered the Genesis module. I could have sworn I pre-ordered it, and they might have changed the pre-order or something like that, because I got my Polymega way cheaper than everybody. I got my Polymega for like $200. Everybody else had to pay like $500 for their shit.
Oh no, I remember you were early adopter on the support for it. I remember that.
Yes,
I'm just trying to remember how far back that was. It's
oh shit! Yeah. I don't know. I'm still
waiting
for the
minute,
light
but
gun.
at least you got it. It wasn't vaporware or nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I want the light gun now, and they claim the light gun is going to start being shipped out in second quarter this year. We'll see second quarter in 5 years.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. 2 years later, he'll finally get it.
I mean, at least with light gun technology, though, there's a couple of companies that have pioneered new stuff for the newer TVs, and it's actually really good. So it's not like they have to build this from the ground up. They can just source it from one of those other companies.
They have already. That's what they're doing. They're sourcing it from them, and they're going to make it their own look. And it's supposed to work with all the light guns for PlayStation, Saturn, Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis.
So how does it work on an LCD screen? That's especially the older ones. Like how do they work
invisible
on an LCD
mouse
screen? Okay, that
from
makes
my
sense.
understanding, it's just like an invisible
because
mouse.
They're essentially the games are emulated, right? The games are essentially they going to be run through an emulator on the essentially through the system because it
is. Yeah.
Oh, so with Polymega, you have the option of doing either physical or emulated, right? Is that it?
No. Yes, and it is a emulator. It was supposed to be a FPGA, which means it was supposed to emulate the system instead of the hardware instead of the software. But because of price and cost or whatever, they scrapped it and made it a software emulator. So it emulates the software stuff. You can use your physical games on there, and you can download those games or load them up into the what do they call those? It's not a hard drive. What the fuck do they call these new things?
SD card.
Well, it's not an SD card. You know what the fuck I'm talking about? The SD, not SD,
the
M2s or whatever. Solid state. Yeah, you can plug a solid state in there, and you pop in the disc and just load it right on there and play it however you want. You can load on patches, translations, so you get the Japanese something.
So
somebody did a fan translation.
You had an arcade pedestal set up and linked to that thing. You'd have a perfect arcade machine, but more or less that could play anything you plug into it, as long as you route it to like a TV or whatever.
Well, anything that thing supports. I mean, technically, a Retro Pi would probably be better.
Okay.
And a lot of people say that because you can get a Retro Pi. They got I have a Retro Pi. We haven't finished setting up all the ROMs or whatever, but you can have the arcade ROMs on it, Retro Pi. Of course, all the 16-bit, all the 8-bit, all the, they got 32-bit now, and the Retro Pis are doing Dreamcast and shit like that. Nice. And supposedly that new light gun works for, the So if you really want to go that route with like an arcade machine, get yourself a Retro Pi, stick that into one of those, arcade cabinet thingies, and go from there. But
looks like
I wanted
Marvel.
Polymega.
Oh, cool. Looks like Fallen Marvel's checking in. He's saying he scratched his itch for early adopter attitudes with DDR5. He says he's done. He's not going to do any more.
I'm waiting for everything going forward. It says, I get that. I understand.
I pretty much think that for some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Some
hard being
stuff
an
like
early adopter, right?
if you don't get it right away, you're not getting it. Like
Hmm.
that game we were talking about, Paprium. If
Hmm.
you didn't
Hmm.
jump on that,
Forget
you're
it.
not getting that game.
Hey,
It's
so
not
Yeah.
you
would you flip it? Would you flip it if somebody offered you money for it?
flip
That Paprium
Paprium.
game? Yeah, would you?
Maybe for 2 Gs because it's going for like 1 G.
Jesus, dude, 2 G's. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's going for one,
I
why
think
not ask
my
for two?
Yeah,
yeah,
guess
I
not.
think the copy
I
of
guess so.
mine because I open mine. I think some of the ones are like people are selling them; they're not opening them,
Yeah.
and I
Mm.
think mine was like, fuck, I don't remember what. Like they have it written in there how many that they did. They only did like a certain amount. Like
Oh,
I think
like
it's only like
it's a
maybe
number
Mhm.
it's
limited
definitely
numbered
limited,
item. Yeah,
100%.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
Yep.
Those are
All
I
right.
say it on unboxings all the time. Those are the things that are worth more if there's an actual limited item that has an actual number card in there, lets you know how many were
uh-huh.
made. Because limited edition, that Halo helmet for Halo 3 was limited edition, and it made like 1 million of those damn things. That's why it
Yeah. I
ain't
still
worth
got
nothing.
mine sealed.
Yep. Now sealed is worth something because it's sealed, but the
Yeah.
actual collectible, that ain't worth nothing.
Yeah, this dude is selling a Paprium brand new for $3,262.80, and his might be sealed though.
Good
Mine is
luck.
definitely not sealed, so I don't
Yep.
give a shit. I don't see myself selling it anytime soon, though.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, I do want to make mention of all our patrons out there, and thank them all for our support. If you go to patreon.com/Culture Junkies, you can join our Patreon tiers for as low as $1. And we actually really do need to update those tiers, but the lowest tier will get a personal thank you from us, but the higher tiers you can get stuff like exclusive T-shirts that we make, or you can also get be awarded a thank you on every single video that we do, like our bi-weekly What's in the Box videos.
Mhm.
GQ's collecting a lot of stuff all the time, and he gets new stuff that he wants to get. So we thank you for all your support, and you can be immortalized forever on all of our videos
And it's true. The
moving
internet
forward.
is forever.
The internet is forever until such time that YouTube dies, which I don't see that happening anytime soon. I'm just saying. Anyway, we thank
Yeah.
you all in advance for your continued support over here on the Culture Junkies channel. All right, guys. I want a quick pivot before we get to the last topic that we're going to talk about today. So today we know is New Comic Book Day, and a new comic book of note for all of us old heads is Thundercats #1 has come out from Dynamite Entertainment. Yes, the
Okay.
Thundercats are back. New release, and they've gone through. They never really can have sustained success. They've been over at DC. They've been over at Image. I think at one point they've been over. Trying to remember where else they've been. But they've had a lot of releases over the years. Now Dynamite Entertainment is taking a stab at the Thundercats. Would you be interested in getting a Thundercats #1 and putting it in your collection?
Not if Snarf is still in it.
Well, of course, Snarf is probably still in it. So, I mean,
Snarf is what turned me off of the original cartoon. I
I
enjoyed
got
the
you. I
cartoon,
hear
but
you.
I hated
Yeah,
Snarf. Then they
yeah.
came out with that remake cartoon, and I think he didn't talk, but I was like, he's still there. And then like whatever, and that's probably why the comics kept failing from company to company because you hanging onto this pointless character.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Thundercats has always been a cool series to me, but it's never been something I really got big on collecting as far as
Hmm.
comics and whatnot.
Yeah.
Would you? Okay, so you would sooner pick up a GI Joe comic book than you would, or Transformers comic book than a Thundercats one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, especially with some of the stuff they're doing with GI Joe and Transformers crossing them over now.
Hmm.
They had one where Cobra Commander is really truly serious. Cobra
Hmm.
La is in the mix, but they found Megatron basically. It's very similar to how the Michael Bay had Megatron crash land on Earth like
Yeah,
thousands of years ago. So it's kind of the same type of story, but Cobra Commander found Megatron and he's milking him for all the info and tech and everything he can get out of him. I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of cool.
yeah,
So
it is.
what's up to King Amarak who's checking in on one of the platforms there. I'm seeing the
It's
alert.
Twitch. It's
Yep.
on Twitch. Yeah,
Yep.
he's over there. Good to see you, sir. Um, So okay, I hear you. And comic books, that's an expensive hobby. You got to be real choosy. Like Gargoyles just recently came back, I think last year. Had a pretty decent run. It was written by Greg Weisman, the creator, and in it they were kind of continuing the where the end of the series left off, where the gargoyles are now public knowledge around the world, and everybody openly acknowledges them. And the storyline is that Elisa and Goliath are committed to one another. Angela and Broadway are going to be committing to one another, but the whole thing was basically Goliath was put on trial uh, for his sentience. Essentially, it was like a whole civil rights thing that they did with Goliath. With Goliath, so he was actually arrested, put in jail. He actually sat in jail, defended the jail from an attack from the pack. But when he was put on trial, Elisa was cross-examined and had to basically admit that she was in love with Goliath, like put it out there. So it was actually kind of good. So I'd recommend picking it up if you guys check it
Wow.
out. Yeah,
It's kind of weird, but okay.
yeah,
She was in love. So he was in love with a human,
yep.
and they put him in jail.
Mm. Yeah, the
It's
connotations here are
it's
kind
such
of.
a parallel.
I
It's such
know,
a
right?
parallel, and
I
that's
know,
fine.
right?
I don't,
Yeah,
whatever. She's, she's not white. She's Hispanic, which is fine. But it's
right.
just like
Yeah,
we see what y'all trying to do.
I see Yep, I see what he's
Yeah,
trying to do too.
this
Yep,
is
100%.
whatever.
Yeah, but no, it was a pretty good series. Short series. I think it was like 10 or 11 issues. Might be willing to pick it up. I
See,
think they're going to
stuff like
continue
that
it
is
later.
fun because they usually will drop a graphic novel and you can just buy the
Yeah.
graphic novel and boom, that's the whole
Hmm.
story right
That's the whole
there.
story. Yep.
The only time the individual issues are really special to me if the cover is just killer. And it's just
Sweet.
like I need, I want it for the
Yes.
artwork more so than what's in the
Hmm.
pages. And that's why,
Hmm.
with me and graded comics, it's like the cover needs to be really great. I'm not
Oh,
even gonna send it out for
100%.
grading. Even if it's a very, significant issue for whatever particular reason, if it doesn't have a good cover, I'm still not gonna send it out for a grade. Because it's
Hmm.
like I gotta look at it.
What's the point right? What's the point of grading it and framing it and putting it on display anywhere if the cover is stupid, right?
Yep.
Or if the cover isn't iconic. Like I'm sure there's a lot of older issues we have where the art may not be super fantastic, but the
Mhm.
the contents inside the issue have some real value, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I wish we're Super Nerd when we need him because he talk all about that all day long. Anyway, so moving on to 2024. Now that we're here, we missed a lot of things. Like one of the things I talked about, I finally watched the One Piece live action. I thought it was pretty decent. There's a lot of shows that are getting ready to come out in 2024 that I personally am anticipating. I think GQ is anticipating possibly as well. And I know Dido is for the long part. So one of the things that let's talk about, and you guys out there in all of the different channels, whether you be on Kick, Twitch, or YouTube or Facebook, let us know what you guys are looking forward to most in 2024. So one of the things, and I wish I could play the trailer for you guys, but I don't want to get hit with no DMCAs, no takedown notices, none of that. So I'm not going to bother with that. But there's this show that caught my eye of like last week. It was announced on Netflix and it's getting ready to come out. It's called House of Ninja. This trailer looks
Is that the Adult Swim
amazing.
one?
No, it's a live action house. It's produced in Japan. It's
Oh,
live action, and it's gonna
Mhm.
be on Netflix. That
yeah.
looks amazing. I don't know if you guys got to see the trailer of that, but if you did, what'd you guys think of it?
I didn't see the trailer. I did see a picture somewhere. I don't think because I've been
Yeah, I don't mind.
dealing
I'll
with
share
the
the
issues
trailer
of
and
my television.
if you do come on, hop on over to our Discord channel, and I'll put it in the Discord as well, so you guys can see it. We need more members in the Discord anyway, but um, yeah, this show is going to be about ninjas. Basically always did exist, and passed down through the generations, and the one clan of ninja that are left kind of faded into, I don't want to say obscurity, but they basically wanted to live a normal life. And then the country started to be subverted by a rival clan that were taking over the government and everything and wanted to come and hunt them down. So now they have to kind of come out of the shadows and fight for the country. It actually is To me, the concept is pretty neat, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it a lot when it comes out. I don't know when it comes out exactly, but I've got my eye on that as a show that I'm really enjoying or looking forward to. In the chats, and you guys um, may like this one, but Marcus A64 said X-Men '97, which is supposed to come out this year. He said
Yeah.
he's tired of waiting for it, and I have to agree. GQ, I'm sure you feel him on that one.
Well, I mean, it's they come out when they're ready.
True.
I'm glad that they got Bad Batch season 3 about to drop. So I mean,
Yo,
I've got plenty
yeah.
of stuff
Yeah.
to keep me
Forgot about
busy.
that.
So
Mhm.
Bad Batch, like when the Bad Batch first started, did you guys expect Bad Batch to be as good as it is?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay.
yeah,
My
because
expectation
All
is it
right.
was a
I'm just.
continuation of Clone. It was kind of a
Mhm.
continuation of Clone Wars, and Clone Wars was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind
Not
of.
only that, Dido and I were the only two that are on this stream right now that watched the original Clone Wars episodes when they dropped. You were the one that skipped it.
I did skip it. You're right, and I since did go back. Okay, folks. So to be fair, I didn't watch the actual Clone Wars episode. You're right. I skipped over it. But when the show came out, I did give the show a chance and watched it, and I enjoyed it. I
Mhm.
did go back and watch it. So, credit to you guys for not, actually being like being on it when it kind of like first dropped. And I'm not saying that I missed the bus, but just I wasn't at that point. I wasn't interested in it. I came back to the Clone Wars because I wanted to see Ahsoka. I wanted to see her story continue. That was just my thing. So just saying. Um,
Yeah, the thing is, when they drop whatever they drop, you gotta watch all of it because all of it ends up connecting. And Bad
Yep.
Batch, that first episode introducing them was like, oh, yeah, they went there because it was like every clone is amazing, but they
mhm,
never had specialists. It's like, yeah, you had ARC troopers, you had your regular infantry and whatever. They didn't have specialists like Hunter, Wrecker, and so it's like seeing them show up is like, oh, this is awesome. So that's
mhm.
why I enjoyed it, just from the whole thing of like, yeah, they were made for very specific purposes and they're badass.
and
Yeah.
and it showed another angle of Order 66. Like you saw
Yep.
another one, and you saw Kanan Jarrus, but his name wasn't Kanan Jarrus. What was? Oh, was no. What was his name before he changed it? I can't remember his name, but you saw him as the Padawan because he was there
Hmm.
with the Bad Batch
Yep.
during Order 66, and I'm like, bruh, yeah. You see
Hmm.
another freaking like angle of what the hell was going on at that time. I mean, to me, I don't know. I enjoy so far everything that is Star Wars, and I realize there's people out there that didn't like the way that certain things went, the way they went. I don't really care what they think. I am enjoying what the heck I'm seeing.
Yep.
Could stuff be done a little bit better? Yeah, but my honest opinion, Star Wars has always been something that we hold close to our heart because we saw them as kids and shit like that.
Mhm.
But if we were adults and we were like, what you call it, we would probably think the same way. Like, oh, it was a good movie. Okay, I'm not whatever.
We're
But
not super invested in it.
yeah, I enjoy everything that's come out of Star. Only thing I have not really enjoyed of Star Wars is that animated series based off the sequel trilogy, Resistance, I think it's called. I tried
Yeah,
watching
that
that.
one. Yeah, that one. I gave it a try. Right, I
Yeah,
gave
I
it
get
maybe
into
like 4 or 5 episodes, and I was just like, nah, I'm getting off this one. I don't like it.
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't that
Yeah.
one didn't do anything for me. They weren't I don't know what it was about it. And it did try to tie it in like when they blew up not Alderaan, not Coruscant. What planet did it? Was it Coruscant that they blew up?
No. Oh
No,
yeah. Actually, no, that wasn't Coruscant.
you're talking about
They,
in the new sequel series.
yeah, the sequels. Yeah,
Sequel trilogy blew up some other New Republic system. They blew up the entire system
yeah,
because
the
that
whole
beam
system.
split into like 5 beams and blew up 5 planets at the same time.
Yeah.
So
They
yeah, that
kind of
was.
incorporated that into the
Mhm.
series, but and for whatever reason, BB-8 was with instead of being with Poe, and Poe did show up from time to time. He was with this kid, and I was just like, okay,
Comic Bunkhouse 5. Appreciate you joining the Culture Junkie Nation. Appreciate everybody that's coming in, giving us
Conic
follows, likes.
Bunkhouse.
Yeah. So appreciate all of that. I'm just gonna say it like Star Wars has been eating off Orty's 66 for a while. Cause it's one of those things, it's like you hit it from all these different angles and it's always interesting. So, Bad Batch did it, Ahsoka did it. So I mean it that one moment in Star Wars is like a perfect, like, as Mace Windu's power calls it, a shatter point for the entire franchise, because they've been able to approach it from all these different directions and they've all been interesting.
by bunkhouse.
It
Bunkhouse.
was clearly a bot trying to sell some services. So goodbye.
Hey, either way, that's still a click and a follow, so I don't care.
Yeah, we got a click and a follow, and then like, hey guys, sorry for bothering you. I know you're in the middle of a show, but I think
I want to sell you my services.
Yeah, it's like, get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here.
That's all right.
Get out of here.
Like I said, I appreciate the follow, whether it was real or not. Still, it was a follow.
I don't know. AI, get some AI. We should come up with an AI generated follower and get like thousands of AI followers. Like, hey, look, everybody's watching us.
Right.
I think that's how a lot of people in the beginning of Twitch did that shit.
More than likely.
Buying bots to make it look like there's a lot of people watching them, and then people like, oh, a lot of people are watching, so I'm gonna watch this guy, and then more people. They were doing that stuff, and I think somehow they banned that shit, and of course you can't do that no more. So, nuts to that.
Yep, nuts to that. All right, guys. What's some other shows you're looking forward to? I know this month, FX's Shogun remake of the old '80s TV miniseries Shogun is coming out, and it's got your favorite guy, Hiroyuki Sanada, in it as one of the principal characters. And it's got Anna Sawai, who was one of the main characters, one of the main actresses in that Monarch show, for the MonsterVerse with Godzilla, and that they did on Apple TV. She's good. She's very attractive too. She's a pretty good actress. I thought she really did. She wasn't annoying in Monarch. There was plenty of things in Monarch that were annoying, but she was not one of them. But I'm looking forward to it because cinematography wise, the show looks amazing. If you haven't seen the trailer, I'd 100% recommend you guys go ahead to check that out. It should be coming out within the next few weeks on FX, so it's gonna be on cable.
That was the one I was looking forward to a little bit more than the other one you had mentioned, but also because I kept seeing Shogun advertisements regularly. House of the Ninja just came recently, so Shogun already had my attention. But I mean, obviously, I'll give both of them a watch.
Yeah, 100%. I think those are going to be fantastic shows. Let's see. Preem in the chat says, not a show looking forward to per se. Keep trying to get people to watch Pantheon. Here he goes again, which is one of the greatest shows I've seen in a long time. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Well, you're gonna be eating those words one day. He's gonna eat those words with cream of soup or something.
Are you talking about me? I know
yes, you.
Me, are you?
You're gonna watch Pantheon.
I said I was going to watch Pantheon.
Yeah. What I'm saying is,
again.
What I'm saying is, you're gonna watch it and you're gonna be like,
I'm not making fun of it. Oh, this is a riff on the whole One Piece thing, ain't it? That's where this is coming from, isn't it?
It's a riff on almost anything. Like, I get around to watching this.
You doubted me on watching One Piece. You didn't want to watch One Piece, and I watched One Piece, and I love it. Oh, granted, it was live action.
Here's the thing. This comes from you not watching Fifth Element, like over
oh my god,
here
we go.
Like one of the best geek movies of its time. Listen, come on now. It's one of the best geek movies of its time, and you hadn't watched it in all that time. That's a little.
I saw that movie in the theater back when it came out.
Exactly.
Bro, like I loved sci-fi.
In the movie theater when it came out, and I didn't see it. Probably because I was tired of it. I was tired of that. I was tired of Titanic. So
how can you be tired of it? You didn't see it?
I never saw Titanic. I was
out of the theaters all the time. Like I didn't sit down and watch it, but it was like, oh, Fifth Element again. Like, come on, man. Because
I don't
Whatever,
know,
bro.
man.
they
Whatever.
don't do this anymore. You notice how none of the movie theaters have the ushers come in the movie theater and check for people, being on their phones or being disruptive.
They don't
They literally
care.
stopped doing that anymore. Like, yeah, they care. We got your money. We don't care. That's essentially what they do now.
Now, one thing, and again,
Market
this
say
is
6'4". Wait a
yeah.
minute.
What's he
What?
You
saying?
never seen The Fifth Element either, or
What?
Pantheon?
Wow.
What?
You talk about Dragon Ball Daima, man. I don't want to see those chibi Dragon Balls. I love
Dragon
baby,
Ball
I
Daima.
love baby
Yes.
Goku.
Yeah,
We don't need to see baby Goku again.
exactly. No,
Yeah,
one of
I
the
agree.
things that I've noticed with or at least with Imagine, the part of their in their before the movie starts
hmm
commercials is
hmm
trying to basically get people to join their team, let us hire you and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
that one guy in the commercial. It's just like, yeah, I like working in theater. I see about 3 or 4 movies a day. I'm like, do you ever work then? Because unless
Right.
you're a
Exactly.
projectionist, which I'm pretty sure they don't even have anymore,
Yep.
you are not watching 3 or 4 movies on an 8-hour shift. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
But
But
whatever.
the projectionist job's got to be super easy now because everything's digital. Like literally,
Yeah,
you just do the remote control, just turn it on. Here you go. Just go.
boom,
Just go.
and you're done.
No, no
You ain't
spooling
wait,
the
you ain't
film.
yeah, you
No
ain't waiting
rolling
for
it
leader,
back in
you
the
ain't waiting for
tub.
those leader markers, none of that. You just,
None of
you
that.
know,
Got to be an easy
crazy.
job. One other show we're 100% looking forward to and is Avatar: The Last Airbender, also on Netflix. Netflix has actually been kind of on fire with some of their stuff. That Avatar series, I'm sure, is going to wash a lot of very nasty memories of M. Night Shyamalan's Last Airbender film. We can kindly forget all about that. But that show is not without its controversies. Uh, I know, Dido, you said you heard the rumor. One thing is that they made some changes to one of the principal characters, Fire Lord Ozai. What was it that you were saying?
Supposedly, yeah. They also took out. They said they took out the sexism of
Of Sokka.
God damn it! I can't remember. Yeah, Sokka. I was gonna say Waka. I'm like, that's not Final Fantasy X. Um, yeah,
Man.
where I apparently it's been such a long time me seeing it. I don't remember, but they said some people were saying that was like major character development for him, and they should have kept that
Yeah.
in there because it was once he met the those Earthbenders that I forget the name of the tribe that they basically humbled him, and he turned, started to appreciate certain things, and it was like they should have kept that
Was
in
it?
there. But some people are saying it's like it's not quite uh it's not a one-to-one, so like they are
Mhm.
changing stuff up for, I guess, modern, minds and stuff like that. But
Yeah. And let's talk about that a little bit, right? Because so we know everything is an adaptation, and everybody's going to have
Mhm.
problems if it's not faithfully adapted one to one, right? If you wanted the original, you could just go watch the original. And adaptations,
Yep, yep,
give
yep.
room for you to adapt and make things a little bit better sometimes. In this regard, toning down Sokka's sexism, I feel like is a bit of a blow because like you said, that's meaningful character development if he grows out of it. It's like saying, okay,
Yeah,
Archie Bunker, we knew was Archie Bunker, for all of you old heads, is from one of Norman Lear's what is considered one of the greatest TV characters of all time, Archie Bunker. He was you could say he was racist, but he was more or less a product of his time, but he wasn't above learning and trying to be different and evolving. Um,
yeah.
and that's kind of the purpose of what good character development arc is. When a character starts at one point and then by the end there's something different. You don't just excise something out because it's an uncomfortable topic. You know what I mean?
That's today's age. You're trying to shield people from certain stuff, and like I agree with some of the people at certain political standpoints where
hmm
I think that things need to be out there, but
hmm
you should also teach people in
Yes.
ways to think where like, okay, this may exist, but you don't have to, put yourself, you don't have to act like this. You don't have to do this because you can teach
hmm
people how to do stuff. You don't like have knives. Oh, this knife is for cooking. And you can show somebody how to cook and sharpen and properly use a knife.
Right.
You don't have to go out in the backyard and start digging because that's not what it's meant for.
Digging with a knife. I would love to see somebody do that. Actually,
Well, you never know what
Yeah.
people will do with
I would love to see
tools that are
somebody try to do that. Digging
not
with a
meant
knife.
for that. So
Yeah.
it's just
I
basically it's just like a lot of people don't
Yeah.
like they don't want to teach. Ugh. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I
They
don't know.
don't. They don't want to teach. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's hilarious that Archie Bunker is your example.
I'm sure there's plenty of others. I'm just saying. I was trying to use someone as a controversial character that people,
Yeah, maybe
really
like 30 years ago, but
Sure,
have
but
at it.
Almost 50
anyway.
years ago, Archie Bunker.
Anyway, God,
Exactly.
I swear, there's no winning with this guy. Anyway, so we're getting low on time. I don't know what else is out there, but one thing I think, I think we could all say is that uh, Daredevil Born Again is going to be a show we're looking forward to. I think that does drop this year. And we're getting seemingly we're getting everybody back, not just Karen and Foggy, but we're also getting Bullseye from Daredevil season 3, which is going to be great because Bullseye was fantastic in Daredevil season 3. If you haven't watched that, go watch it again. The entire Daredevil series, it was an amazing show. Amazing show.
Well, I mean, Dido brought it up earlier.
Mhm.
Disney brings back most everybody except Gina Carano.
Except Gina Carano. Hey man, she fumbled that back. Speaking of which, right? So since you brought her up, she's suing Disney for what did they say? For discrimination because she decided to extol her views on social media, not on their dime, and she's suing to be recast in her role. Well, first of all, they didn't kill off Cara Dune. They just stopped talking about her. Period. Second of
No, they
all,
mentioned her in season 3.
yeah, they did, right? But
Yeah.
they just didn't show her. But they
No, of
didn't
course
kill her.
not. They
Yeah,
they
just
left
didn't
it
kill her.
open to bring her back. The problem is, it's like you have to understand something. If a company lets you go under basically their morality clause, you can get back in. You just got to learn how to not say anything until the time is right. Apologize if you have to. Here, come back into the fold. If you spout off and then sue the company, you really pretty much close that door. It's like, okay, we didn't kill the character. We were trying to let you come back. But
See,
she's being backed by Elon Musk.
Well, that too.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, that's the other thing.
Again, he's probably the richest person on the planet, and that's great. He still don't have lawyers like Disney.
No,
I'm just gonna put it out there. You can have all the money in the world. If you ain't got that law team backing you up, crossing them T's, dotting them I's, you can throw as much money as you want at it till the cows come home. You're not gonna win.
No, 100%. She's going to get laughed out of court. Like, make no mistake about that. She's getting laughed out of court. I just find it funny that every time when they fumble the bag, like Preem says here, she fumbles the bag, and then when they finally run out of money after they've come down off of that high horse and like, oh, you fired me, I'm gonna go work for Ben Shapiro and I'm gonna make Ben Shapiro movies. Yeah, that Ben Shapiro money ain't Disney money. And now she wants to sue and get her job back because she knows that them paychecks ain't coming like they used to, and them bills don't stop coming just because you stop working.
Has anybody ever successfully sued to get a job back? Isn't that just like asking for burnt bridges? Like, like, I mean, I know y'all let me go, but I'm suing. I want to get back in there.
Like, how awkward would that be, right? You fire me, and I'm going to make you rehire me. Like, not only would it be uncomfortable for me, it would be uncomfortable for all the other coworkers, knowing that the boss really doesn't want me here, but to hell with him. I made him hire me back.
Not even that. You put yourself in a weird spot because it's like you got let go, you reacted, you had your backlash and all of this other whatever. Now you want back in? It's like, why should we let you back in?
Yeah,
exactly. The first thing you did when we let you go is you spit hot venom in our direction. Like, that's just weird.
And everybody makes the arguments like, oh, well, they didn't fire Pedro Pascal. Well, the chief difference is that when she spouted off, Disney asked her to stop. She wouldn't stop. When Pedro Pascal popped off, Disney asked him to stop. He promptly shut up. There's a difference there. There's a difference there.
Again,
it wasn't worth it. his speech wasn't worth him his bag, and that's what she didn't get.
Look, man, freedom of speech, not freedom from consequences.
There
So
you
I
go, my man.
mean,
There you
there's
go, my
always going to
man.
be that part of it. It's like you can say whatever you want to say. Don't get mad when the consequences come back around and hit you in the ass. So.
I
I
love
think
that.
that's hilarious that people think that freedom of speech means I can say whatever I want and just get away with it. It's like that's not how
Right.
it works.
That's not how it
No.
works. I don't understand that. And Preem is like, if it was me, I'd rehire her for one episode just to kill her off and let her go again. See, that's some petty stuff I would do.
Hey,
That's some petty stuff I would do too. Be like, yeah,
yeah.
okay, Gina, sure, we'll hire you back. Here you go. Your character's about to die.
And the
And
worst
she's
part
going to die
is,
in a gruesome death.
the
Yeah.
worst part is, I rewatched the season finale of season 2 of Mando. Actually, episodes, the episode before and that finale. She
Yeah.
was prominently put like in there with
Yep.
that group of women and rolling through, just clearing out the cruiser. It's like,
Yep.
why don't you just be happy with that? Just
Mhm.
just enjoy that, get that Disney money, and retire.
Man, they had her set up for her own spinoff. Rangers of the New Republic. That
Dude.
was going to be her show.
That's what I'm saying. It's like at some point you have to be like, you know what? Is my opinion important enough to me to put it out there and
Thank
risk
you.
all of this other
Thank
stuff related to my career? Or can I just, just sit back and just not say nothing? Because it ain't that
Right.
important.
It's really not that important. Everybody and their mama, I bet you there's plenty of people that work at Disney that don't share very progressive views. But guess what? Their opinions aren't worth their job. Their
Not mine,
opinions are
yeah.
their opinions. They can feel how they want to feel, but they're not going to put themselves out of work just because they want to say what they want to say. That's different. That's the difference. That's the difference.
Talk
Anyway,
yourself
guys.
right out of a job.
Talk yourself right out of a job. There you go. Exactly. Anyway, guys, it's 10 o'clock. We about hit that time. Our time is up. We're gonna get on out of here and let you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Look forward to us coming to you live next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, right here on Kick, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook for another episode of Culture Junkies Live from our friends, the Great Daddy QG and GQ. I'm Kenshiro. See you guys next week. Take care now.
Goodbye,
Have a
people.
good one.
Bye-bye.
Be back,
See
same
you
time,
later.
same channel.
With those bat stuff.
Oh yeah, the bad stuff. I love the bad stuff. The bad stuff. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Oh my gosh.
We
I
are
feel so much
clear.
more tired.
Cool.